Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about the last of the PDFs for Savage World that I downloaded. This is the final third of them. These are fan conversions for material that we'll probably never see an official Savage World supplement. So first off, we've got Savage Star Wars. This is a fully functional Star Wars game done in the Savage World engine. And it's quite thorough. It's got enough of the base races to start a campaign without a problem. It's got information on Jedi, the Dark Jedi, all the different Force powers, some nice general background information. If you were to use some of the references available just from the films with this information, you could run a Star Wars campaign without any problem whatsoever. If you really love the Savage World engine for that purpose. Though I gotta tell you, Star Wars Saga is a pretty solid system. Next we have the Savage Sword of Conan, which is a lovely little pun because it really is called the Savage Sword of Conan. And this is a decent translation of the Conan universe, both taken from the novels themselves, or the stories, and from the Mongoose role-playing game. Nicely done. It gives all of the different racial backgrounds that are available in Hyboria, or the world of Conan. I've always liked that idea, because it's a world with nothing but people. If they're not people, they're probably monsters in this game setting. So the people all have different backgrounds from different countries, and it gives their descriptions. It gives the physical descriptions. It gives their kind of a little bit of thumbnail about what their culture looks like and acts like, and of course the pertinent game stats of this culture may have a plus to climb outdoors because they're in mountainous regions, or this culture is known as being really good at haggling because they're from an urban city, things like that. I always like that kind of an idea, and it's well executed in this game, and it gives a nice feel overall for the setting. It gives it a little slightly different take on magic because magic is more dangerous and rarer in the Conan universe than it is in your average fantasy setting or in Savage World in general. So it's nicely done, and I like the way they executed it, and I think that it would be a good addition to anyone's collection who really enjoys both a solid, low-powered fantasy setting and has a thing for Conan. Next is Savage Fundour. Thunder the Barbarian in all his glory. This is a pretty scant document. It's only 14 pages. And it gives lots of information about the individuals in question. It gives some information about the races that are found in the world, which is cool. But a lot of the fluff is a little amateurish. It's not bad, and again, it's free, so you can't really lose. But the production values are only so-so. Overall, I wasn't floored by this particular PDF, but I'm glad I put it in my collection because if I ever need to run Ukla the Mock or Fundour, I've got the stats for Savage World right here at my fingertips. Next we have Savage World's Battlestar Galactica in the Savage World engine, and it's a 61-page document. It's very thorough. It has a whole bunch of information in it, man. I mean, basically the entire history as presented in the series is here in this book. On this PDF file. I was really impressed. They did a wonderful job. They give the different kinds of edges and things that you need to run the campaign. They give a whole bunch of information about the NPCs, all the characters that were in the series. I've never gotten into the new series at all, but this gives me a lot of information and really did kind of whet my appetite. So I may hunt this thing down on DVD at some point. Next, however, I have to tell you right up the bat is I'm kind of biased towards, because this is the best Savage World fan conversion I've ever seen. And this is the Savage Gamma World Revised. I love Gamma World. It is my second favorite game in the world right after Dungeons & Dragons. And I own every single edition of the game, all 7 of them. Now I own an 8th, because this Savage World book is absolutely stellar. The production values are as good as any other gaming product I've ever seen. This is a translation of mostly the 2nd edition. I think it's got some influence from the 3rd edition. And it is everything you need. The different kinds of mutants you can play. All kinds of mutations. Physical, mental, plant mutations. A wonderful bestiary. I mean, it is just chock full of every single iconic Gamma World monster that you've ever seen before. The tech stuff is great. Weapons, armor, all of the miscellaneous technology, all of it done in great detail. The different kinds of powered armor, Mark V blasters, the black ray pistol, which are the deadliest thing in the game. Just some really wonderfully cool things. These people have just outdone themselves. I cannot recommend this particular document enough. It is just so good. So if you're a Gamma World fan or any kind of post-apocalyptic fan, and you're looking for something for Savage World, this is one-stop shopping, folks. The only thing I think it might lack is that the 4th edition of the Gamma World game had templates for animals and plants that let you take a base animal and then add things to it to make it into a playable character, and this game doesn't have that. But I don't think it would be difficult to translate it from 4th edition, or maybe use some of the information from the Justifiers role-playing game conversion that I talked about the last time I did one of these videos. I actually may take a crack at making some of the conversions for the Gamma World 4th edition Gamma World animals and plants myself into Savage World as an exercise. So if I do, I will post it somewhere, and then I will pass it out to anybody who wants a copy. Next we have Savage World's Alien vs. Predator. This is from the films. It's got stats for the Predator. It's got stats for 3 different kinds of aliens. It's got the base drones, the Praetorian, which are like the Queen's guards, and the Queen herself. And then it's got the fusion creature, which is what happens if a predator becomes infected with a alien facehugger, and what you end up with. But I think the best part of this particular document, and it's a tight little 16 pages, is it's got all kinds of information on the Colonial Marines. It's got their background, it's got their hindrances and edges for them, it's got all of their equipment. You could use this in a heartbeat to run an entire unit of Colonial Marines. It is just really nice stuff. I think it would be cool to have a group of Colonial Marines being hunted by a predator. That would be fun. Good little document, well worth your time. And the last is Tales of the Glittering Void Spelljammer. This is the classic 2nd edition D&D Spelljammer setting, tweaked quite a bit for the Savage World setting. They made some changes. They gave it a cohesive, comprehensive background, where the Mind Flayers were at one time the slave owners of pretty much everybody, spreading their empire and conquering system after system. And eventually their slaves revolted, and you're now hundreds of years in the post-revolution world, where the Mind Flayers are just another race out there trying to get by. They've lost all of their power, essentially. They have nothing left. They're just trying to get by. They've bred a new race of animals that produce the brains they need, so they are not feeding on sentience. Of course, the bad guys can, of course. And it's really well done. Playable Beholders. Now that's a cool idea. You could play a beholder in this game. The Thri-Kreen are in here, the Mantis warriors from 2nd edition, and I'm a big fan of them, and I'm so glad they have it right up. Some doppelgangers, some Oni, which are Asian ogres, kind of magic users. So there's some really nice information in here on a number of different 2nd edition races, and some good solid rules on using the Spelljammer type ships, which move through space that is not conventional space. It's got air in it, and you travel from point to point using magical ships. But it's got some really nice things in there. I think it's a lot of fun, and especially if you're a Spelljammer fan, because a lot of that stuff is hard to come by now. It's not easy to find Spelljammer stuff. And if you like the Savage Worlds engine better than 2nd edition D&D, and who wouldn't, this would be a great way to get you to play Spelljammer. I know that it's got me interested in the setting again, because it's just it is really a cool setting, and the idea of being able to play a beholder is just too cool for words. So I hope that you enjoyed these Savage World reviews. If I ever find any other cool ones, I will be doing reviews at some point in the future. The next gaming book I'm reading is the Pathfinder campaign setting, so maybe a few weeks. It's a big book. So have a good weekend.